I'd like to welcome Karen Wellman, Managing Director of Dynamic Metals, and Karen's talking to us about the Widgiemooltha Gold Project in Western Australia. Hello, Karen.
Thank you. Hi. So I'm here to introduce the Dynamic Metals story to those of you who haven't heard it before. We only listed in January this year, or hopefully give some of you a bit of an update as to what we've been doing. We're spun out of a company called Jindalee Resources, who remain our largest shareholder, and hopefully you'll see from this presentation we've had a pretty busy first 9 months of existence. So, what does Dynamic have to offer you? I guess we've got quite an exceptional portfolio of projects with land holdings that are pretty impossible to replicate in truly world-class locations here in Western Australia. We've got exposure to all the commodities that are feeding into the global push for decarbonisation, including nickel, lithium and gold PGEs. We have a highly experienced management team. So the team has been together for the last couple of years under the Jindalee umbrella, and so we've been working up this ground and all of our targets. We've put a lot of time and effort. So the team is fully invested and has a personal interest in seeing success from the targets that we've generated. That's one of the reasons why we were able to hit the ground running when we listed in January. We started drilling about 2 weeks after we listed, and in the last 10 months we've drilled over 10,000 metres of RC and air core drilling, and tested 10 of our targets. We raised $7 million at the start of in December last year, at a time when a lot of other IPOs were being pulled, which I think speaks to the depth and of our portfolio. We believe we're quite attractively valuated and leveraged to success as an investor. When we listed in January at 20 cents, there was no seed capital put in. So everyone's been, and no in-specie distribution of shares, so everybody's come in at the same level. So our capital structure was set up for success from the beginning as well. And I think that's one of the reasons, for all these reasons, are why we're one of the most successful IPOs of this year. So we do have a strong, diverse portfolio of exploration assets here in Western Australia. I'll just talk about 2 of our key projects in this talk today, which the first one is our Widgiemooltha project, which is located about an hour south of Kalgoorlie. So we're prospective for nickel, lithium and gold around there. If you head over about 150 k's to the west of that, you'll find our Lake Percy project. That's also prospective for nickel and lithium, sort of probably better known as the Lake Johnson area. And I won't talk about Deep Well today, but that's our third key project up there in Meekatharra with nickel, copper and PGE prospectivity. Much earlier play, with not a lot of data go on, but that one's quite an exciting one as well. So a bit of an overview on the Widgiemooltha project to begin with, if you're not familiar. So as I said, it's about an hour drive south of Kalgoorlie. You can see Kambalda sits here. All these coloured blocks are our holdings, so it's about 880 square kilometres, stretching between Kambalda there and Norseman down there. So the area has been historically mined for nickel and gold, for quite a long time. So we had a lot of data to go from in terms of coming up with our exploration targets. Strategically located, they're not words that we're just saying. We've got a lot of infrastructure in place. You've got the main highway running down to the Port of Esperance from Kalgoorlie. You've got things like the BHP Nickel West operations in Kambalda. We've got the main railroad, so you're not quite well located, and it's easy to operate in this area. Also important is that we've got 100% of the mineral rights. So for the nickel, lithium and gold, we've not spun any of them out. And as I mentioned, we had drill-ready targets once that we were able to hit once we listed. So I'll touch on the nickel exploration to begin with. So when you talk about Kambalda, most people think about nickel. We've had high quality nickel has been produced there since the 1960s. Our tenements sit adjacent to quite a few historic and currently operating nickel mines. They're located there in sort of the darker blue colour, just a couple of them, otherwise the map gets a bit overwhelming. In the light blue colour we've got our dynamic drill targets. Quite a lot of familiar names in the neighbourhood, such as Mincor. There's been quite a lot of interest in what's going on there. So as I said, we listed the company and we've drilled 4 of the nickel targets. One of them we've gone back to twice since we listed, and I'll touch on a few of those projects now. So the first prospect we drilled just after we listed was Dordie Far West. So Dordie Far West had a couple of holes that was previously held by Mincor, and in 2007 they had intercepted some nickel near surface, got some results such as 2 metres at 1.4%. Then they've walked away from the target. We liked the idea of what was going on there and decided that we would test it out ourselves as to, in light of the Kembata ore deposit model for nickel. So what we plan to do is, a lot of the Mincor hits were in the weathering profile, so our plan was to go find fresh rock in nickel sulphides and determine if they were there and where the basal contact was, which is an important part of the ore deposit model for nickel. It's where the basalt meets the ultramafic, and you want to test that that's fertile. So we went back and we drilled our first 5 holes, and we got significant assays in 3 of them. I think one of the best results there is 16 metres at nearly 2% nickel, including a zone of 5 at 2.8, which is very high grade. And in general, the results we got were of a higher grade and thickness than what Mincor had previously intercepted. We did hit them in the weathering profile, which was not our aim of the game. We were trying to hit the fresh rock. It was a bit deeper than we anticipated. But we took an opportunity where we could turn around, and we drilled back in the opposite direction on some existing lines just after. So we drilled holes 6 and 7 as a bit of an opportunity. We didn't have to go through any more permitting processes. And in that hole, we've actually, in drill hole 7, hit some fresh rock. So low grade, but it was actual fresh rock nickel sulphides. So that's quite a positive sign and gives us an indication, along with the fact that in the weathering profile we have such high grade nickel results already, that we are into a fertile system. At the Democrat area, we've just recently drilled 2 of these targets, the D3 and D5 targets, just in August. So this was a tenement that was only granted in June, but because we had our work in place and we knew that it was a priority target, we went straight through with our drill permitting in July, and we've hit it and drilled it in August. So that's just part of the dynamic way in our preparation that we've done in terms of this land package. We're really excited about the opportunities that might exist on these targets. This D5 target here in particular, we've established from our work that we have a really thick unit of ultramafic that goes through there, which you can clearly see the magnetics signature there. We established that, followed it up with the surface geochemistry. We're in the right address, we're in Kembata, so we're looking forward to seeing the assay results come through for that. Also in Widjamultha, the area has really started to emerge as a lithium belt over the last couple of years. As you can see where our tenement package sits, we're well inside this Goldilocks zone. We've got several large projects in the area, all within 25 k's of our tenure. So you've got Mount Marion here up the north, Bald Hill, Baldania, and down around here we've had Essential Metals with Sinclair and Dome North projects. We've seen from what our neighbours can do, and what you can do in Western Australia is that you can move quite quickly if you make a lithium discovery. So we've seen from our neighbours at Widgie Nickel here, who discovered Faraday just last year, and they've moved very quickly into resource and beyond into studies right now. In terms of lithium exploration, it's very early stage because a lot of the data didn't exist. So back when I worked out here in the early 2000s, we used to throw the pegmatites away. We never kept them. So there is a lot of opportunity. So on that note, with our lithium exploration, we've worked with just zooms in around the Pioneer Dome area. This tenement was only granted end of May. We've gone through, done our surface reconnaissance mapping, and just finished a large soil sampling program there. So we're back to square one in terms of lithium exploration, but as I said, you can move on to drilling these things fairly quickly once you narrow down your drill targets. So if we take a little drive 150 k's to the west of Norseman, you'll find yourself at Lake Percy. So Lake Percy is potential for nickel and lithium. It's the northern extension of Lake Johnson Greenstone Belt. We've got 15 k's of strike that we were testing up in the northern section here, where we generated 8 nickel targets. Also, this area has got a lot of lithium potential as well. So you've got Charger Metals Medcalf discovery down here. We know the spodumene-bearing pegmatites at Mount Day, and we've got sniffs of lithium up where we are too. So we're also wary of what potential we have there. So in April this year, we went and drilled 102 holes out at Lake Percy. quite a series of traverses along the ultramafic. So it was a nickel-focused drill program because that's what was drill ready, but we were wary that we'd get information on the lithium while we're out there. Quite exciting is that this northern area that we explored, we got quite a lot of really good nickel results, including 16 metres, 1% nickel, but importantly there was a lot of copper associated. Once again in the weathering zone, but it's a dispersion profile that we look to have. Also quite interesting and what supports our potential story for finding a nickel deposit out here is we hit fresh rock nickel sulfides down here in this line. So that's 1 kilometre from there, so it gives you a bit of size of a bit of an indication of the potential size. And then a bit further on from that, there's a historic hole which also has nickel sulfides. So this was an air core program which we were just testing fresh rock geochemistry. We're planning to go back there with RC drilling to get into underneath and see what we can find in terms of nickel sulfides. Also important, which I forgot to mention, is there was PGEs in the fresh rock intersection. There's several very encouraging signs that we might be onto something there. We also gained a lot of information about what's happening with the pegmatites out there and have changed their historic interpretations to realise that they're quite flat-lying things that are running perpendicular to the rest of the stratigraphy. So that feeds into our geological model. So we've got quite an extensive exploration program that we've completed this year. You can see the green ticks are the programs that we've already done, and we like to keep our schedule pretty dynamic essentially, and adapt it based on the drill results here. So we're regularly reviewing what's going on. And most of all, we've delivered on our IPO, our strategy that we put forward, and we've given, I think, the market some results. So a quick corporate overview. We've got 49 million shares on issue. As I said, we listed at 20 cents, sitting about 25 cents at the moment. You can see the share graph there has not worked out quite well when it's come through in the PDF, but we sort of maintain some consistency. So Jindalee remains one of our biggest shareholders at 25%. So in summary, I think if you have any more questions, feel free to contact me. But I think there's 3 things which make Dynamic a bit different from everyone else. With our projects, they are well located and in established Tier 1 jurisdictions, and we're exposed to multiple critical mineral commodities. Activity, we've been very active this year, and that's something, it's been a year where a few other explorers are sort of tightening the belt and quietening down, but we're opposite. We're cashed up and we're ready to go drilling, and we're taking full advantage of the fact that we've got drill rig availability and sample turnarounds that didn't exist last year. We've got a strong pipeline of targets, and we're committed to seeing our money get invested in the ground. And also our leverage. So with only 49 million shares on issue, and a market up about 12 million. We believe investors are leveraged to our success. We've still got over 4 million in the bank to continue our aggressive exploration schedule. And we're in the right place, we've got the right ground, we've got the right infrastructure and the right corporate structure. So, feel free to come and catch up for a chat later on. Thanks.
Thanks, Karen. Questions? It's the same question I had for Glenn, really. There's so much going on. Yep. There is 4 million in the bank. How far does that get you? And are you expecting to, after the current kind of crop of programs, are you expecting to land on a couple of priorities within that mix of projects?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the aim of the game at the moment, is to, this year has been about sort of spreading our wings out and having a look at what's on the portfolio that we've got and making the most of what is already there. There's some natural things which are coming through. I mean, one of our problems has been is some of the programs we've put forward have been to, essentially we're not trying to kill them, but going through the process of, we've got a large portfolio, so we're quite happy to part with the ones which are not going to be successful. but we're hitting something in every program. So it's a nice problem to have. But yeah, still establishing that focus. There's a couple of clear runners that are coming to the front though.
Okay, and that $4 million will kind of help you make those decisions?
Yes, yeah.
No problems. Thanks, Karen. Cheers.
Thank you.